we talk about specialist lenders, there's a lender that will lend for every circumstance. So always be open, honest, and your broker will find you the best lender. If you're a contractor, you may have found it hard to get a mortgage, especially if you are paid through an umbrella company. So today I'm going to cover off a little bit about specialist lenders and how they can help if you're a contractor and maybe you're between contracts or you are paid through an umbrella company. So in most cases, it's going to require a minimum of 12 months track record of contracting. A few mortgage lenders can consider day one contractors with relevant industry experience in a previous employed role. The current fixed term contract must have at least 3 months to run. Some banks and building societies require 6 months. So the day one contractor situation would be someone, let's just say I have clients who are social workers and they've worked for the council or they've worked for the NHS or whatever entity for many years as a PAYE employer. They've decided now for flexibility or because it's more money for whatever reason to become contractors. They move into a contract and they've just started their contract. Some lenders will consider that because they have the history of working in that field previously. If you are just starting contracting and you've never done anything in that field and you don't have the right contract structure, you may find it difficult, but there are lenders who can assist in that circumstance. So if you're a contractor, 9 times out of 10, going to your bank is not going to get you the result that you need. This is why you're going to want to speak to a mortgage broker. When you speak to your mortgage broker, particularly if you're paid through an umbrella company, they'll be able to find the lender who they know will lend to you. One of the worst things that you can do is go directly to your bank, maybe not disclose everything because you weren't asked the right questions because the bank staff are quite busy. They give you an agreement in principle that has not been validated, meaning they haven't asked those probing questions. Then when you go to make the purchase, you get a decline. You're told that they're unable to proceed. That's one of the worst things that can happen because when you then apply with another lender, so hopefully at this point you'll have learned your lesson and you'll go to a mortgage broker. One of the questions that will be asked on the application is if you've ever been declined a mortgage. This is one of the many benefits of going to a mortgage broker. As mortgage brokers, we'll be able to look at the criteria, we'll be able to speak to the lender before we do an application or do a search or do anything to make sure that you meet that lender's criteria. We'll also be able to go over an illustration with you that you get a feel for what your monthly payments would be, what the interest rates are, etc. And if you watch any of my videos, you know what I'm going to say now. Don't get too tied down to interest rates. Quite often I have clients who, watch the news and they see the Bank of England has raised rates or lowered rates and they talk about rates. Rates are very personal to you, your circumstances, the lender you go to, and what outcome you're trying to get. That's why I do these videos, that you can have a more informed conversation with your broker or even with your bank if you decide to do that, because you'll understand some of the concepts. I'm not giving legal advice or accounting advice, and these videos are not designed to replace speaking to a licensed professional. So make sure you do your due diligence. But I can tell you, if you're a contractor, there is hope and you can get a mortgage. Some of the things that you're going to want to confirm: are you paid via an umbrella company? If you are, there are some lenders that will not lend to you, and they will ask questions about the umbrella company. So make sure that you understand, and it's a reputable umbrella company. There's been some nightmare stories about umbrella companies in the news. What does your contract say? Does your contract say that your contract ends on a certain date? Does it have an option for a renewal? What is the notice period? Most contractors I know are quite proficient in negotiating their contract. So that shouldn't be a problem. How long is left on your contract? And are you currently between contracts? These are going to be the key things that you're going to want to talk to your broker about. As I said, my name is Anthony Lindsay, and I've been in finance for over 30 years. So I am able to give you a breadth of information. I've done collections, I've done wealth management, and I've done mortgages. So when you speak to me or when we have a consultation, I'll be able to answer questions about credit and other things. That's why I do these videos, that you can have the information that you need before you move into having the conversation with a broker. But if you're a contractor, make sure you reach out to a broker who understands the specifics of being inside or outside of IR35, and someone that can give you the best advice. Thanks for watching, and make sure you like, share, subscribe. And if you have any topics that you'd like for me to talk about, make sure you put those in the comments.